Hello and welcome back, or welcome to another one of PBC's Women's Art Nights. And as you can see, for this video we are in a different setting from the last one. We are in our garage / art studio, so we've got a really good art vibe going on for tonight. If you haven't already seen our last video, my name is Bella.
And I'm Jennie, Bella's mom.
Yeah, so me and her are both working together with the women's ministry to create these awesome videos for a small art series. So for today's project, we're obviously doing another bullet journaling activity, but this one is going to be a lot more fun because there's a lot more to it, but it's also really simple. So what I call today's spread is nature notes. So what you're going to need to do is get the supplies that you had before, your bullet journal, pens, markers, colored pencils, all of that stuff. We're not going to be using stickers for today. You can still use the mild liners from last time. If you don't know what they look like, they're these pens / highlighters. And yeah, it's basically just really simple. You can do whatever. So yeah, but what you also need is you will need tape. Preferably like big packaging tape if you have it. If not, you'll just need like multiple pieces of smaller tape. Yeah, clear though. You need clear for this one. So for this video, what you're gonna need in addition to all of that is your nature part of the activity. So what you're gonna do is we're gonna end up going outside for this video, and we're going to collect 3 different little pieces in nature, and you get to decide which ones you guys collect. So you can choose like a leaf, a blade of grass, a couple blades of grass. You can also choose flowers too. Preferably anything that's fallen on the ground, is always what you're aiming for, but it's okay if you want to just pick one fresh for this video. Because what we'll be doing is we'll be taking these things, taping them, and then taping them to a page of our bullet journal to create a nice little collage, and then we'll end up labeling those things with a description and how each little nature thing makes us feel. So yeah, you can take this time to pause the video now, and then we'll show you the things that we choose.
All right, see you soon.
Yeah. Alright guys, so now that you have gotten your little nature items, we're going to show you what we got. So Jennie here got a purple flower, a pink one, and a leaf. And I got this little like fluffy leaf and the same purple flower and some red petals. So now we're going to show you what you need to do with those. So this is our page example for today's project. So before we get started on the titles and everything like that, we're going to focus on what you need to do with the nature items. So what we have here is we are going to lay your 3 items on the sides right here. But what you need to do is you need to wrap them in tape, as you can see here. And we're going to show you how to do that step. Okay, so now what you're going to need to do is get a long piece of duct tape like so. And we'll also describe how to do it with strips of tape. So what you're going to do is take your item and you're going to gently place it on the tape. Make sure it's flat and doesn't stick out in any ways. So I have 2 petals, so I'm going to take them and put them like this. And you got to make sure that you're gentle or else they might tear. Like I teared it a little bit, but it's okay. So, and then what you're going to want to do is fold it to where it's right at the edge. And then if there's any excess, like if I folded mine right at the edge, it might be a little too long. So I'm going to try to do this and fold it like a square. So you can see how it's like, you can still see the flowers, but they're like preserved between the 2 pieces of tape. And then any excess on the side like this, just fold it over and make sure you're being very gentle with it all. Now, if you have only strips of tape and not duct tape, you can lay a couple out right next to each other and basically do the same thing where you have your petals or whatever you got right on top of them and you basically fold it over the same way. So yeah. Okay, so now that you've gotten your nature items and wrapped them in tape, yeah, so now we're gonna set those aside, but before we do, I'll show you some of mine. So as you can see, I wrapped this little leaf in tape. It's all flat, ready to go. And yeah,
I did a pink flower wrapped in tape, so it'll be preserved nicely.
yeah, so what you're gonna do is set those aside, and then we're gonna move on to the next step before we start laying these out. Okay, so the next step is basically what we did in the last video. So we're gonna start with the title. So as we did before, we did like little lines on the side of the title. This time you can do like squigglies or anything like that, and you can title it My Nature Notes or anything else that appeals to you. You have the choice. And then underneath that, what you're gonna wanna do is write the location that you got your plants from. So whether that was your backyard, a park, your sidewalk, anything like that, just write it down. Okay, so we decided to have a little easel here for you guys to follow the steps. So we're currently on the title up here, and then this little label on where the location is, and this is on your first page. So we're gonna get started.
We're going to be doing it right along with you, so okay.
Yeah.
As I was taping up my little nature things, I was just telling Bella this is so cool. I've never seen this before, where you can put it in tape and then it preserves it, and then you were saying that it doesn't get moisture onto the paper, which makes sense.
Yeah, because I don't know where I saw this from. I thought of this on my own, but I saw someone where they this is really funny. They taped like a Cheeto to a piece of paper and like tried to save it for like a really long time, but then the back of the paper got moldy is the thing. So if there's like moisture in Cheetos, there's probably going to be moisture in your plants. So like I felt like wrapping it all the way around would be better, you know? So yeah.
And I didn't say it at the beginning, but I'm still going to be using fairly limited supplies. So I just have a black pen. I got this time 5 colors. Mm-hmm. And so, and then I may use some of these colored pencils, but they're not necessary. So again, if you did buy the supplies in advance of these art nights, feel free to use them. If you didn't, you can still make something really cool.
Yeah, because like this one is a fairly it's mostly about the plants. So yeah, it's not really like about the titles necessarily. So yeah, this is definitely like a really chill one. I mean, they all are, but like, yeah.
Yeah. So as we said, we're in our garage/art studio.
Mm-hmm.
It's very windy here.
Yeah. And so if you hear any like scratching, I don't know if it'll even pick up on the camera, but like it sounds like there's like a raccoon, but there's not. It's just like the branches
scraping the
ceiling. Yeah, but that's okay.
We don't have like a professional studio to do these in.
Yeah, so we're making do with the limited space we have.
Yeah. So Bella has some news.
I actually have I don't know which news particularly you're talking about, but anyway, I'll say the not super exciting one, but kind of exciting. So tomorrow's my birthday.
Yay.
Yeah. I mean, well, the day that this is coming out, I'll actually already be 16. But yeah, we're filming this on Wednesday, so today is my last day of being a 15-year-old.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm very excited about that. And yeah, so that's definitely fun. But the other news is I got my first job.
Yay!
So yeah. So
if you guys had watched the last video, closer to the end, we talked about that Bella was about to go on her first interview.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a little bit nervous about it, and so update is
that I got it. Yeah, it actually went like really well. The person interviewing me is like really chill, is really nice, and yeah, I think that the manager like really liked how he said, like, once he gave me the call that they were going to go forward with my application, he was like, yeah, we think that you can really hold a conversation and that you'd be really nice with our customers and that you'd really work well with our team. And I was like, that's perfect, you know, because that's all the things I thought I could do with this job, like, you know. So yeah, this will be my first job, like, so it's a big deal. So
I did my title, and then now I'm writing my location.
Yeah, so after you finish your title, you can write the location that you got your plants from.
Okay. All right, ready for the next step.
Okay, so this is what you guys should have completed so far. So for me, my colors for today are going to be pink and green, and I just did my title, and then I got all of my supplies from the backyard, and then Jennie here did her title, and she got her supplies from the front and backyard. So now we're going to move on to the next step, which is what we are going to do with the plants. So basically, as you saw before, we're going to put our 3 plants right below the location label and just put them down until basically you reach the bottom. It's okay if you don't really have space for another line at the bottom, it's totally okay. So yeah, basically I'll show you like a little bit of a layout of what it's going to look like. So what you would do is basically lay them out in the order that you want, just like this. It's okay if the tape kind of overlaps as long as there's like still room between them. And yeah, so it should look like that. And what you're going to want to do after that is you'll get your duct tape and tape over them. And we'll show you a video on how to do that. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is then take a longer bit of duct tape and you're going to basically put that over this square so then it sticks down. And then you can put some extra on so then it'll stick down better. But yeah, that's basically all you need to do to get it down with one piece of tape. And basically do that for the rest of them. So yeah. Alright, so this is what all of the nature pieces look like when they are taped down. So they're nice and sealed onto the paper. This is what Jennie's looks like. So yeah, we're ready to move on to the next step. So what you're going to want to do now is once you've taped all of your plants down, you're going to want to give them a little name. You know, like Carl, Susan, you know, whatever the plant's vibe is, just give it a lovely name, you know? And then after you give it a name, what you're going to want to do is draw some little arrows and give a little description, a little bubble description right next to it that says like how it felt. Did it smell very planty, you know, like what was like the texture and like color of it, you know, just give a description however you want it to be. So again, the step is just giving it a name, arrow to a little description bubble. Okay, so now we're just gonna follow those steps. And don't forget at the very bottom right here, make sure you add a line like you did at the top for your title. So we can get started.
So as Bella mentioned, tonight is Wednesday when we're filming. Mm-hmm. And, sorry. Fun thing that has been going on for Bella during the summer has been youth group on live stream and on Zoom.
Yeah. So what's been interesting about that is like, for youth group, it's basically like every Wednesday on how it was before. But the only difference is that the like lesson for the night is on a live stream and then small groups are on Zoom. I think when I first did it, it was really fun because it was really nice to like see people again, like over a Zoom call instead of just like, you know, oh, I'll never be able to see my church friends again until quarantine's over. But it's really fun because like they even do like games on the live chat and it's like really, really like, you know, cool to just like participate in that because it's really easy and like you don't have to do much. And So yeah, I definitely think that that's something I look forward to every week. So yeah.
Yeah, we're really thankful, and I'm sure everyone watching who's been participating in any ministries at PBC, just for how quickly everything went online. And so just definitely for the high school students, I can attest to how much of a blessing it's been to keep that connection happening during this time. So it's pretty cool to hear her, up there having youth group in her bedroom.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a normal Wednesday for us. And then tomorrow for Bella's 16th birthday, which is crazy.
Yeah.
You want to tell them our day that we planned out?
Yes. So, wow, I can't believe that's like really tomorrow. Okay, so the plan is that we're gonna go thrifting and go to a record store, which both I haven't done before. So that's gonna be really exciting because I really want to start like working on like trying to spend less on clothes when it's like really unnecessary to pay so much. And then I also haven't been to a record store yet, and I have a record player, and I've only ordered records online, so I really want to start doing that. So it'll definitely be a new experience.
We know you said you looked up videos on how tips for thrifting.
Yes.
And what were some of the tips?
Yeah, so like with thrifting, there's a specific way you gotta do it, where you can't just like go in there and like look around a little bit like you do at a regular store, because things can be really hidden, and that's what's difficult, is because you have to have a lot of patience. Like I think that the tips that I got were also for like bigger thrift stores, so but I think you can use them in small ones as well, where you got to make sure like if anyone's left things like on the side of the racks, like make sure to look through those, because you might find stuff there, or if there's like a loose like shirt or pair of pants that are like leaning on a rack, without a hanger, look at those too, because they also might be cool. You also should look at like any glass cases if there's like anything vintage or like any jewelry that you might want. Like you'll definitely be able to find it there. And yeah, you just gotta like look through everything and make sure to grab a cart. Even if you only plan on buying a little bit, grab a cart, because what you're gonna want to do is basically pick out anything that looks cool to you, even if it's not your style, so then you can sort it out all after, because you don't want to have to be like, oh well, I did like that one like cardigan, like where was it, you just want to take it then and there. So I definitely feel like I'm prepared. Clay.
All right, we ready to move on?
Yeah, we're gonna show you what we did. Alright, so now that we're done with that step, we're going to show you what we did. So, if you didn't have space in between, like, the tape for each one, it's okay if you can write it on, like, the arrow, or like Jennie did, like, on the outside or inside of the box. So, yeah, I named my purple flower Tonya, my red petals Robert, and my little green leaf Carl. And I wrote my little descriptions here and finished it off with my line. And then Jennie here did cool, colorful combinations. So yeah, I think that these look pretty good. So now we're gonna move on to the second page. Okay, so this is fairly easy and will technically be the last step, I'm pretty sure. So what you're gonna do is probably put both of your lines right now so you can get a good sense of where you're gonna put these writing parts in. So just finish off your lines going across, up and on the bottom. And what you're gonna do is you're going to make little boxes, enough to write like a couple of sentences, or maybe just wait till after you've written to put boxes around these. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna write your plant names in order, same order as here. So for example, what I would do is I would write Tonya up here. And then what you're gonna do is write is how like the plant makes you feel. Like, does it give you good vibes, bad vibes? Like, what does the location that you got it from make you feel? Whatever is on your mind when you look at this flower, or this leaf, things like that. So what I would do is I would write, Tonya up here, write that, then write Robert, my second name, do that, and basically do 3 paragraphs or 3 like little sections. And then once you're done with that, you're gonna box it all together, and yeah, you'll basically be done. Alrighty, so now we're on the final step. We're all ready to go. So yeah, let's complete it.
I really think this project is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think like I've like seen this done in like scrapbooks and stuff before, and I know that like if you have like thick enough paper or like enough like room to do it, it's like it works pretty well to put like, you know, like preserved like leaves and stuff on. I've never like actually done it before. I've always like seen others do it. So I think it's cool that I get to do it and then do it along with you guys.
So as far as what I'm gonna do here, I did think about a little bit in advance before we went and picked out our nature items. About what I was gonna even pick, you know, because originally when we talked about this project, I thought, oh, you know, like a stick or something, like it had there was nothing to it, you know, like just random. But then I thought, oh, wait a minute, you know, we've been at this house now, well, tomorrow it will be for 15 years.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, I can't believe we've been here for 15 years. And so there's a lot of memories here, and actually some of the plants then have either been here since we moved here, or that we've planted over the years, and like, you know, we see over time, you know, change and grow and things like that, and like there's a history behind some of them. So as far as like why I picked my particular plants, my purple one up here at the top is from a bush that's like,
it's basically a tree.
Yeah.
It's a bush. It's a bush, and all my life when I was younger, I'm like, oh yeah, the purple flower tree.
Yeah.
No, it's a bush that's literally a tree. Yeah. It's like, the thing is like as long as a tree is. I don't know how that happened.
The stem is like a tree trunk.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy, and it's been there forever.
Yeah. And so I picked one of those flowers because we just, oh yeah, you did. And we both put them at the top. That's fine.
Oh yeah.
And then the pink petals I picked were from our hydrangea bush. We have a giant hydrangea bush in our front yard that I planted, you know, I can't remember how long ago it was, but it's been a long time. That thing is really big. And so picked that, and that blooms every year really beautifully, and like people walk by when it's at its like peak, you know, and like take pictures of it and stuff. It's like a cool bush. And then the last leaf is from our orange tree, which is something we planted when Bella was maybe about 4 or so. And we told her, oh, it'll grow with you and it'll be as big as you. Well, something's weird with the tree because the trunk never got like full height. It's like the trunk isn't even that big. Like it's like, so it looks, point being, it looks like an orange bush, not an orange tree.
No, it's like, it's not like tiny though. It's like,
it's not tiny,
but it's like it's huge. But it never like grew to be like, I think it's because like it knows it's in a tiny area, maybe. Like
it sensed it.
It sensed that, that it's like in a tinier area, so it didn't like grow to be like a full-on like mammoth of a tree.
Yeah,
you know,
it stayed in its allotted space.
Yeah.
So. But is there a story around why you picked yours, or was it just you thought they were pretty? Or?
I thought they were pretty. Yeah. I feel like that's definitely more of your thing, where you like gave a super big purpose behind it all. I'm just like, oh, look at this shape, it's fun. Oh, look at this, I like red, you know, which is fine too. Yeah. But you know, I just like, I'm gonna write like how it makes me feel to look at them. Basically, what I'm telling you. So yeah.
What did you name your flowers? Or your nature
Oh, yeah. I think I already said it in the video, but, like, if you didn't catch in the previous thing, but if you didn't catch it, I named the purple one Tonya, my red petals one Robert, and my leaf Carl. You know, I don't know. I just looking at him, that's the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, so just random, kind of whatever came to mind. I named my purple one Jasmine, pink one Patty, and then the leaf Olivia.
Yeah.
So, if you guys want to write in the chat what you named your 3 nature things, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
So Bella mentioned that she let her youth group know, her small group, of sophomore girls, or like rising sophomore girls.
Yeah.
Know that we're going to be doing this video, and so I think they're going to be joining us. So shout out to them.
Yeah, if you guys are here, that's pretty cool because you listened to my recommendation.
I really wanted to make this one like more simple and not so like crazy bright colors. And then I look and it's so crazy bright colors.
Yeah, you made like everything a different color.
I know.
Gee.
I tried to like be more subdued. I even picked like more pastel colors and still managed to make it look like, you know, just crazy. Like, I don't know.
The mind knows what it wants.
Yeah. Now I'm supposed to put box around my text?
No, actually, now that I'm looking at them, you don't have to. I don't think I'm actually going to put a box around mine. But, like, if you guys still, like, have space, you can. But, like, yeah, again, it's all up to you. You don't have to if you don't want to.
Okay. Yeah, it's crazy that we've been in this house for 15 years and Bella's been in our community for that long. We were telling some other people about a story where we were cleaning out some closets and things like that, and we found an old notebook from when Bella was in kindergarten, and they used to send it home every week. And it was like a question, and the parents respond, and then the kids write something. It was like a take turns thing between the parents and kids. And then one of the entries was talking about like a new school or something. Like, have you ever had to be a new student in a new school or something like that? And then I proceeded to write my daughter, who was 6, a long letter about how we wanted to try to keep her in this community until she graduated high school because of all the moves that I had to go through. I really wanted to try to not have her go through that. And so you were mentioning that you found it a little bit like surprising of how the moves kept going.
Yeah, exactly.
Different schools.
Because I've never moved, like, in my life. I don't know what it's like. I can only imagine because only sometimes I've, like, had to do things that are kind of like it. Like, when we had to, like, get our carpets redone and move everything. Like, I feel like that was, like, maybe the closest I've gotten. Because that's where we had to, like, basically take everything off of the floor. Which is, like, just imagine that. Taking everything off your floor because you're getting your floor replaced.
It was like moving out, actually. Just picture that, the whole house.
Yeah, so basically... Yeah, so I've never had to move, and, like, basically my mom was talking about, like, you know, yeah, you've never moved, because, like, we just want to make sure that you don't have to, like, leave your friends and, like, leave your community, and you know, like, what things are like in this area, like, you know, things like that, and, like, yeah, she told me, like, in order, chronological order of every single move. And oh my gosh, I didn't expect it to go on so much. But yeah, she moved, like, almost every single year. And I'm like, I can't imagine that. Because I've lived in the same house for, like, 15 years. Like, oh my gosh. the house has gone through a lot with us too. Like, there's been so many, like, issues, but, like, you know, we've gotten them fixed, but, like, you know, there's just been so many things, and, like, it's like you're, like, growing up with the house.
Yeah.
So I definitely will cry. That's what I've said. I will definitely cry once I move, because this house is, like, the only place I've called home, which is crazy to think.
Yeah, it's like whenever I want to show Bella, like, where I grew up, it's kind of like, so you gotta go on a road trip, because, like, there's not, like, a place I can point to and say, oh, look, that was, like, you know, whatever. So there was a couple of places where we stayed a fair amount of time, so that's good. In the city, I grew up in California, mainly, and then once I was about to graduate high school, which, you know, moved my senior year of high school, so that was a blast. So then I went to college, though, in Washington State. But then we came back to the Bay Area. But a place that we lived in, San Francisco, had a few years there where I feel like I could point to that as being, like, one of the major homes, but there's several more. So yeah. But it's one of those things where, like, you had something as a child that wasn't the best, and then you try to do it different for your own kid, you know, and then it's like, but then there's issues still, so it's kind of like, well,
yeah, because, like, like, I didn't, like, move, but I still lost a lot of friends, because they ended up moving, or, like, have changed friend groups, like, in a bad way, you know, like, I've had so many of my best friends move, which isn't the best, but, like, I know what it's like to, like, have to leave a best friend, and, like, it's hard, but I think also, like, you know, God does everything for a reason, is what I like to think, is, like, it might not, fun fact, it was, like, tonight's youth group lesson was kind of based on that, like, where, like, you know, have you ever thought about, like, how, like, God has, like, done or there's been, like, a plot twist in your life, and, like, you don't know, like, why it's happened, but, like, you know, and you're still, like, trying to ask God, you know, like, why did this happen, or, like, has there been something that's already happened, but God brought it to your attention, like, why it did happen, you know, and, like, yeah, I was, like, one of our leaders asked, you know, can you think of any examples, and I'm like, oh, yeah, there's a lot, and, like, but I've seen pretty quickly, surprisingly, how all of them have affected me, and I can see why it's all happened. Even, like, the bad things, you know, like, it all just makes sense. Or, like, no, I can share, like, actually, like, I wondered, like, why, you know, so many of my friends have moved. I think, like, I'll just, like, thinking of it, like, overall, like, why have so many friends moved? I think it's because I think maybe God wants me to, like, you know, like, keep those friendships, like, you know, like, it's like you really know who's, like, worth it, is what I think what it's about, where it's like, you know, like, I am in contact with some of my friends still that have moved, and some of them I'm just like, I never want to talk to them again because, like, they were a bad influence or something, but yeah, or where, like, if I've seen them again because they visited, it's like we never left or something, where it's like, I think God really shows, like, which friends are, like, the keepers when they move.
Yeah, you have a couple that you've kept in contact with that were really good friends, which is pretty neat. I don't think I have any friends from my childhood that I've kept in touch with. So, yeah. That's a little bit hard. But yeah, I think recognizing that relationships do take work when people move away. That's not true. Okay, I have in my adult friendships, I have people that have moved away, that I still keep in contact with, and it is like you can pick up where you left off. But yeah, like childhood friends, not so much.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so now we're finally done with that last step. So we're gonna show you. All right, guys. Well, we are finally done with our last step. So here's my full spread with my flowers and descriptions. So I finished it off with my little lines. I wrote all the names in calligraphy because I just wanted to like add something, a little extra. You don't need to do that at all. I mean, unless you know how to. But yeah, I also like added like little black accents to my title so it could like match with this because I added green to here. So yeah, and then here are Jennie's. She boxed hers. And yeah, we've all got like a pretty cool color combo going on here. So yeah. All right, guys, so that was the end of this whole setup. So thank you so much for joining this week's Women's Art Night project. I had a lot of fun with this one. I think that it was really cool to like use nature, inside of our little bullet journal project,
Yeah, it was really, really cool. I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, so again, if you want to join for next time, just follow these steps.
Yeah, the date is going to be August 14th, and it'll air 7:30, so same time. And the URL for more information is pbc.org/artnight, all one word.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's fun hanging out together and with you guys, and we hope you have a good night, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
All right.
Bye.